Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Welcome to our pre-recorded video lecture for the subject M105 or Comprehensive Family Planning. I am Dr. Leigh Reburon, your instructor for the subject. In this session, I will be walking you through the different laws and legal statutes related to family planning and population. In our previous session, we learned about the negative effects of population growth. But by now, you may have already have an idea of the importance of your roles as midwives in preventing rapid population growth. In this module, you will learn the different laws and legislations that are related to family planning. These legal statutes are necessary to guide and protect you in the dispense of your duties and responsibilities as midwives taking care of our population. The first law that you need to understand is the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng Reproductive Health Law or the RH Law or the RA 10354? Now, this law guarantees the universal access of every Filipino to different methods of contraception, fertility control, sex education, and maternal care. Now, there are different mandates of this said law. So, what does this say? According to this law, the Philippine government and private sectors should fund and undertake the widespread distribution of family planning devices, or they should make these family planning devices available to the Filipino people, including distribution of condoms, birth control pills, IUDs, and other family planning methods. And also, the government should disseminate information on the use of these contraceptive methods as part of the responsibility of the different healthcare centers. Aside from that, this law also stipulates that reproductive health should be included in the curriculum of the different government schools in the country. Aside from that, it also tells us that women who just had an abortion should still receive post-abortion care regardless kung ano yung ginawa ng mother, because this is part of her right as her reproductive health. Okay, so yun yung mga tatlong kailangan yung tandaan ha. This law mandates the distribution of the different family planning methods. The other one is the integration of sex education and reproductive health in the curricula in the government schools. And lastly, there should be post-abortion care given to all mothers because it is part of their right as their reproductive health. Another mandate of the RH law is that we healthcare providers are prohibited to deny reproductive health services to our patients based on their religious beliefs and cultural practices, especially in non-emergency situations. A good example of this is supposing a teenager comes to you asking for morning after pills or condoms. Even if it is against your personal principles, you do not have the right to deny these patients of their reproductive health services. You still have to cater to these clients in this situation. Aside from that, we are also not allowed to reject or deny voluntary vasectomy or ligation in grounds of spousal consent, as long as the client is of legal age and that person can receive our services even without the consent of their partners. And lastly, we are also not allowed to deny services to abused pregnant minors whose conditions are certified by the DSWD. Even without parental consent, these minors are entitled to our family planning and contraceptive services, especially if the parent is the perpetrator. Now, another law that you need to know as midwives is the Presidential Decree 965 or the National Population Program. Anong ibig sabihin ng program na ito or the PD 965? This program aims to inform and instruct the people in our community on family planning and responsible parenthood. And paano natin gagawin ito? This law mandates that all applicants for marriage license need to attend family planning and responsible parenthood seminar and training before they are given the marriage license that they are seeking. PD 965 also creates the administrative machinery in every city or municipality for the instruction and information of family planning and responsible parenthood. So lahat po ng mga offices natin dito sa municipalities or cities natin ay meron silang mga POPCOM. Presidential Decree number 965 is the reason why we have these kinds of offices in our cities and municipalities. Nasabi natin kanina that the Presidential Decree 965 is the reason why we have Office of Family Planning in the different cities and municipalities nationwide. The head of the Office of Family Planning will be the Municipal Health Officer or the RHU doctor. And the doctor or the Municipal Health Officer shall be assisted by the Rural Health Nurse, the Rural Health Midwife, and other members of the rural health units. So lahat-lahat sila will be part of the Office of Family Planning. Also, other personnel from different government agencies should also be involved in the Office of Family Planning. Ano ba yung mga duties and responsibilities ng mga members of the Family Planning Office? Number 1 is that they are expected to give instruction and information on family planning and responsible parenthood for the marriage license applicants. So, like I said a while ago, lahat ng mga gustong ikasal bago sila mabigyan ng marriage license ay kailangan nilang dumaan sa isang training or seminar on family planning and responsible parenthood bago sila mabigyan ng certificate. Yung certificate na ito ang gagamitin nila to get their marriage license. The members of the Family Planning Office should also make sure that the information that they are giving is consistent with the policies of the Commission on Population. So, dapat hindi pwedeng bara-bara lang yung binibigay nila na lecture or instruction. Dapat it should be in line with the policies of the Commission on Populations. Isa sa pinaka-importanteng section na kailangan nyong malaman in PD 965 is Section 3 or the Certificate of Compliance. Ano bang sinasabi ng Section 3? Number 1 is that all applicants for marriage license shall receive instruction on family planning and responsible parenthood bago sila mabigyan ng marriage license. Number 2, yung instruction regarding family planning and responsible parenthood may come in the form of personal instruction or face-to-face communication, or pwede din siyang other forms including the use of brochures, pamphlets, or handbooks. Now, in cases when the municipal health officer or the head of the family planning office is not available to give the lecture or to give the instruction on family planning and responsible parenthood, pwede namang gawin yan ni RHU midwife, ni RHU nurse, provided that that personnel is part of the Office of Family Planning and dapat meron din siyang training from the Population Commission. Now, there are common questions that are usually asked regarding the PD 965. So, dapat alam nyo kung paano sagutin yung mga questions na ito. Number 1 is, magkano or how much is the certificate coming from the Family Planning Office? The simple answer to that question is, it's free. The next question is, paano kung yung couple, they failed to obtain a certificate from the Family Planning Office? The answer to that is, if there is no certificate coming from the Family Planning Office, the civil registrar of that municipality will not release the marriage license to the couple. So, ibig sabihin, kailangang mag-seminar bago makakuha sila ng certificate from the Family Planning Office, and yung certificate na yon ang gagamitin naman nila to get their marriage license from the local civil registrar. Pero tandaan, hindi forever nilang i-hold yung marriage license. The civil registrar can only hold or defer the giving of the marriage license only for 2 weeks. So dapat sa 2 weeks na yon, makompleto na ng couple yung seminar or training on family planning and responsible parenthood para makuha na nila yung marriage license nila. So nasabi natin kanina that the local civil registrar can hold the issuance of the marriage license for up to 2 weeks kung wala pa yung certificate coming from the Family Planning Office. However, after 2 weeks at hindi pa rin na-i-issue yung certificate coming from the Office of Family Planning, pwede nang i-release ni registrar yung marriage license sa couple na ito. Now, another question is, sir, paano naman kung ayaw mismo ng officer or ng member of the family planning office na bigyan kami ng seminar or ng instruction on family planning and responsible parenthood? The simple answer to that is pwede silang kasuhan or they may face appropriate administrative or criminal charges. Why? Dahil according to PD 965, lahat-lahat po ng mga marriage applicants ay dapat mabigyan ng instruction on family planning and responsible parenthood. At pag sila ay umayaw na gawin ito, they may face criminal charges dahil part po yan ng kanilang responsibility as members of the family planning office. Sir, paano naman po yung mga doctors or midwives na nag-i-issue ng certificate sa mga couples even without undergoing instruction or seminar on family planning? Pwede din po silang kasuhan ng korte for not following the provisions of the law. So always remember that if you are issuing certificates to marriage applicants, make sure po na nakapag-undergo na sila ng seminar or training on family planning and responsible parenthood. Kasi if you issue this certificate to couples who have not yet undergone this training and seminar, pwede po kayong kasuhan. Another law that you need to understand and know is the PD 69 or the Omnibus Tax Bill of 1972. Now, bakit kailangan natin ng PD 69 or the Omnibus Tax? Kailangan natin to because it aims to reform our current tax system to make it more responsive to the requirements of the developing economy. Now, this law assigns tax exemptions to different types of individuals based on their circumstances. Hindi din naman kasi maganda kung lahat-lahat tayo, regardless kung ikaw ay single, may dependent ka, or other things like that, ang pangit naman kung pare-pareho tayo ng tax na binabayaran. So the PD 69 fixes that problem. It gives or it assigns different tax exemptions to different types of individuals based on their circumstances. Now, ano ba ang sinasabi ng batas na ito? PD 69 states that tax is mandatorily imposed on all taxable net income received during taxable years from all sources. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Na regardless if you are a citizen of the Philippines or you are an alien residing in the Philippines, lahat-lahat po ng income mo that comes from the Philippines is taxable. So lahat po tayo walang exemption, meron po tayong tax na babayaran if you are already having an income from the Philippines. Isa sa dapat nyong malaman as working individuals is Section 23 of Presidential Decree 69. At ano ang linalaman ng section na ito? This refers to the amount of personal exemptions allowable for each individual. Ang sinasabi dito, if you are single or if you are married but legally separated, you are entitled to 1,800 pesos of tax exemption each year. Now, paano naman kung ikaw ay married and you are a head of the family? If you are married or if you are a head of a family, you are entitled for 3,000 pesos of tax each year. Now, paano natin makakategorize yung mga heads of the family? There are different parameters for one to be included as head of the family para makuha yung 3,000 na tax exemption na ito. Number one is that that person should be unmarried with dependents. And sino yung mga pwedeng dependents nila? Number one, is they can be mother or the father or both parents na dependent sa kanila. They are already heads of the family kung meron silang dependent parents. Brothers and sisters can also be considered dependents provided na sila ay less than 18 years old at wala pa silang sariling trabaho or they are mentally or physically incapacitated to take care of themselves. So even brothers and sisters can also make you heads of the family if they are your dependents. And lastly, if you have children, biological man yan or adopted man yan, if you have children that are dependent on you, you are also entitled to the 3,000 pesos tax exemption each year. So those are the contents of Section 23 or amount of personal exemptions allowable to the individuals. So dapat alamin niyo po yan. Aside from the 3,000 pesos tax exemption na makukuha mo for being the head of the family, you can also be entitled an additional 1,000 pesos for each dependent child that you have. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Yung mga anak mo, provided that they are less than 21 years old, or they are unmarried or unemployed, or they are incapable of supporting themselves because they are mentally or physically incapacitated, they can give you 1,000 pesos tax exemption each year. Pero hanggang 4 children lang po yung maximum na exempted sa tax. So meaning, kung ikaw ay head of the family, that's 3,000 pesos. At kung ikaw ay head of the family with 4 children dependent on you, you already have 7,000 pesos tax exemption. Bakit? 3,000 pesos for being head of the family and 4,000 pesos from tax exemption sa inyong 4 na anak. Another law that you need to know as midwives is the Presidential Decree number 79, or the law revising the Population Act of 1971, or the RA 6365. Now, bakit kailangan pa natin ng PD 79 kung meron na tayong RA 6365? Yung RA 6365 natin, this created the National Policy on Population, and it also created the Commission on Population. However, kulang siya ng implementing rules and regulations, kaya kailangan natin ng amendment para maisagawa or mai-enforce yung provisions ng RA 6365. So, anong nangyari? Na-create yung PD 79 to amend and enact the provisions of RA 6365. Now, bakit natin kailangang i-enforce si RA 6365 gamit ang PD 69? Naniniwala kasi ang Philippine government that population program is important in social and economic reform and development. Naniniwala din kasi ang gobyerno natin that family planning and responsible parenthood is necessary to give equal opportunity to all Filipinos. So yun po yung reason kung bakit tayo merong PD 79, which is to enforce the Republic Act 6365. Section 3 of Presidential Decree number 79 creates the Commission on Population. Always remember po that POPCOM is directly under the office of the President. Now, bakit kailangan natin ng POPCOM or Commission on Population? Population Commission was created because it is intended to carry out all the goals and objectives, purposes of the PD 79. Ibig sabihin, yung Population Commission Office natin ang siyang mag-i-implement ng mga vision and objectives ng Presidential Decree number 79. Now, let's talk about the purposes and objectives of POPCOM. Ano ba yung mga ginagawa nila? Number 1 responsibility of the POPCOM is to create long-term plans and programs and recommendations on population. These long-term plans need to be in line or in sync with the goals and mission of the Presidential Decree number 79. And yung mga programs and plans nila will be directly submitted to the Office of the President. And these plans and these programs will also be approved by the President himself. Now, the Population Commission is also responsible to conduct studies of demographic data and demographic trends as basis for policy development. Kailangan nilang mag-conduct ng mga research studies on population so that all their decisions and actions and plans are guided by these trends in our population. Aside from that, POPCOM is also responsible to organize and implement programs to promote understanding on the bad effects of unlimited population growth. So isa din sa kanilang mga objectives is to create information dissemination to educate people regarding the need of population control. Isa din sa mga responsibilities ng POPCOM is to propose policies and programs to regulate labor force participation, internal migration, and distribution of population. Aside from that, the Commission on Population is also tasked to integrate family planning and responsible parenthood and sex education in different educational programs in our country. Aside from that, Population Commission is also responsible to promote safe family planning practices and to discourage other people in our community to employ or use unsafe birth control practices. So to do this, we give affordable and accessible family planning methods or contraceptive technology to the people who want to use family planning instead of letting them use unsafe birth control practices. So bigyan na lang natin sila ng mga free contraceptive services instead na pumunta sila sa mga iba't ibang tao para lang magpatanggal or magpa-abort. So those are the roles and responsibilities of the Population Commission. Aside from that, the Philippine Population Commission is expected to create partnership with international organizations concerned with population issues. Anong ibig sabihin nito? They are tasked to create relationships with other countries and they will benchmark or they will adapt different practices in other countries regarding population control. Aside from that, the POPCOM is expected to provide family planning services as part of the holistic care or overall health care of the community. And to do this, the family planning services and birth control methods are made available to all Filipino people. So lahat po ng mga contraceptive methods and family planning services, they are made available to all Filipinos except po the use of abortion. So those are the roles and functions of the Population Commission. So what are the duties and functions of the Population Commission? Number one is that they are tasked to employ or hire competent healthcare workers to provide family planning and contraceptive methods and different family planning services to the people in our community. Aside from that, the Population Commission is expected to provide training to healthcare workers except for physicians to administer contraceptive methods. So dapat meron silang continuous learning yung mga competent healthcare workers na hinire nila to provide services to the people in our community. They are also given the liberty or freedom to perform actions that may promote the attainment of the goals of PD 79. So kung meron silang naisip na plano regarding population control, pwede din pong gawin ng POPCOM yun in every municipality. And they can also create partnerships with private organizations or non-government organizations to the attainment of the goals of PD 79. Aside from that, the Population Commission is expected to conduct, promote, and publish information, research, and investigation regarding our population. Kailangan po natin kasi yan for them to create policies on population control. Always remember that before any decision is undertaken, kailangan natin ng sound data or information. The Population Commission is also expected to utilize clinics, pharmacies, to distribute family planning information and contraception. Lastly, the Population Commission is also tasked to partner with other agencies or non-government organizations in the performance of its functions. As midwives, another law that you need to know and understand is Executive Order Number 223 or the Reorganizational Act of the Council for the Welfare of Children. This law redefines the role and organizational structure and enlarging the memberships of the Council for the Welfare of Children. Now, bakit natin kailangan ng EO 223? This law is centered on the promotion of the well-being and total development of all children and Filipino youth. This law also protects children from exploitation, abuse, improper influence, hazards, and other circumstances that are prejudicial to their physical, mental, emotional, social, and moral development. In the past, we already have the Child and Youth Welfare Code, which is Presidential Decree Number 603. This code created the Council for the Welfare of Children. However, we still needed the Executive Order Number 223 because it acts as the implementing rules and regulations of PD 603. Ibig sabihin, kailangan natin ng Executive Order Number 223 to enforce and amend the provisions of PD 603. Now, both of the said laws are created to coordinate and enforce laws that promote the welfare of children and the Filipino youth. And the main goal of these laws is to formulate programs and services for the development of children and to protect the best interest of the Filipino youth. Both Executive Order number 223 and Presidential Decree number 603 are proof that the Philippine government considers the growth and development of children and the Filipino youth important. Now, what are the functions and responsibilities of the Council for the Welfare of Children? Number one, the Council is expected to implement and enforce all laws to promote children and youth welfare. Aside from that, they are expected to formulate national policies and programs for the general welfare and protection of the Filipino youth. And they are also expected to create and recommend pilot programs and innovations of services on national scale for the welfare of the Filipino youth. So, nung ibig sabihin nito, this council are the ones creating programs for the holistic development of the Filipino youth. So, dito po pumapasok yung mga kabataan ayaw sa droga or yung mga sports clinic para sa ating mga kabataan because, like I said a while ago, the government, the Filipino government believes that the youth is the hope of the motherland. Kaya kailangan natin silang pangalagaan and we have the EO number 233 to do this. Section 4 of Executive number 223 contains the powers and responsibilities of the Council for the Welfare of Children. At ano-ano yung mga powers and responsibilities ng Council? Number 1 is that they can mobilize the resources and utilize other agencies for the attainment of the goals of the decree. Like I said, kailangan nilang mag-create ng partnership and to utilize the different government agencies para maprotektahan at mapangalagaan ang development ng ating Filipino youth. Aside from that, they are also expected to submit annual accomplishment reports to the Office of the President via the Secretary of Welfare and Development. And lastly, they are expected to perform other functions as per law towards the attainment of the goals of the Executive number 233. And that concludes our discussion for today. I hope you learned something from me. Always remember that you have to learn these laws by heart because that is your responsibility as midwives. Knowing the different provisions of the law can help you decide on your actions and decisions as professionals. And aside from ensuring the quality of services that we give to our clientele, following the law will also ensure of your protection. So kailangan nating alamin ang batas para maprotektahan ang ating sarili at ang ating mga kliyente. And just a quick reminder before I say goodbye, always remember that your summative assessment number 3 will already be uploaded in our Edmodo classroom. Please take the test if you are ready, and if you are experiencing any technical difficulty, you know where to find me. Again, maraming salamat for listening. This has been Dr. Leigh Reburon. Keep safe, follow health protocols, remain healthy and happy, and enjoy the rest of the day.